Alright, it looks like we're going first here. And our hand is... it's not great, right? I think it's maybe a keep, but not really too excited about it. Double Team or Battle Rage isn't... You don't normally want to draw two. There's 3 copies in the deck. But maybe we'll draw like a Titan Strength to go along with them. That would be nice. We'll see what we're up against, obviously. And go from there, I guess. Slip through space could be a way to get through a Team or Battle Raged Swift Spear. Unfortunately, we do only have 1 creature, so our Swift Spear is pretty vulnerable right now. So we did not draw an untapped blue. Treasure Cruise, though, isn't a bad draw, but it looks like we're just going to be pecking in here for 1. And next turn we may want to go ahead, if we draw a 3rd land, we may just want to go ahead and fire off the Team or Battle Rage. Even though it's not going to get the Swift Spear up to 4 power, it still may be pretty good. And it could be that we're up against some version of Abzan. Looking at Canopy Vista right now and Llanowar Waste. Okay. Yeah. Could have fired off a Fire Impulse, but that would mean we wouldn't be getting the Prowess trigger from it. But it does look like it could be some version of Rally. Let's go ahead and start with the Slip Through Space. Notably, our opponent just has a Zulaport Cutthroat, so nothing too scary, but that was probably our worst draw in the deck. The 3rd Team or Battle Rage, so not what we wanted, but we'll do what we can with the cards we've drawn. If we had a 3rd land, we could have gone ahead in Team or Battle Rage the Swift Spear and got in for a bunch of extra damage, but maybe we'll go with that play next turn. Our opponent's mana base is foiled out, at least with the 2 expeditions, so that's pretty cool. Have to give our opponent some props there, but it's kind of a close game right now. We're going to go ahead and go through the same motions we did on the previous turn with the Slip Through Space. And then we may just go ahead and fire off a Team or Battle Rage. We do have the 3rd land, which is nice. So yeah, let's just go ahead and Battle Rage here. That's going to be 6 damage total. So our opponent's already going to be down to 7. And we're now in the range of Treasure Cruise. We do have 6 cards in our graveyard, but our opponent is also representing Collected Companies, representing a number of different cards, but is going to go ahead and crack the Windswept Teeth. And just past the turn. Okay, so yeah, Collected Company is clearly what our opponent is representing in this spot. And we have a couple of different options, different plays we can make here. Running out Abbott is definitely one. I don't mind that. We could also just simply Treasure Cruise. We can attack. We could just go ahead and attack and see what our opponent finds off potentially a Collected Company. Alright, I kind of like attacking. We do have a Fiery Impulse. We have Team or Battle Rage. So, while our Swift Spear is in some danger of dying here, I think it's probably worth the risk to just send in the Swift Spear. And interesting, it looks like a chump block here, maybe. Okay, here is the Collected Company. And it's going to be Nantuko Husk and Grim Haruspex. That's pretty good. Okay. So we're kind of in a little bit of a tougher spot than we would like to be. We have the option of just impulsing the Grim Haruspex, but our opponent's representing a rally with double Cutthroat in the graveyard, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's go ahead and see where this Fiery Impulse takes us. Okay. And yeah, let's go ahead and cruise for just 1 mana. Hopefully we'll at least draw some lands here. Alright, there's some lands. So we have the option of which creature we want to play. We can play the Swift Spear. Just simply pass the turn, kind of cross our fingers. Rally would be pretty good here, but Sunken Hollow is going to come into play tapped. I wonder if our opponent has like something like Reflector Mage. Don't really know what's in our opponent's hand at this current point in time, but we do know that was a pretty good hit off the Collected Company. It's not what we wanted to see. And here's a Matter Reshaper to make things a little bit more difficult. Alright, let's get the ball rolling with an Abbot. See if we can hit something nice off this. Okay, an Expedite. Alright. We can expedite the process of this game. Just go ahead and give our Abbot haste. Alright, Jace is what we drew off the Expedite, but now we're in a better spot for sure. I think we just want to go ahead and get in with everything here. We have Temur Battle Rage that we're likely going to cast this turn, targeting the Abbot most likely. This is basically the correct block from our opponent's perspective, but it looks like we're still gonna deal lethal this turn, I believe. Our Abbot's going to become 4 power. We're going to get Smoldering Marsh here. And then we're going to trample over for 4 from the Abbot. Plus the 3 that's already getting through from a Monastery Swift Spear. Should do it. Our opponent could hit something off this Matter Reshaper. Sacrifice it and hit something. That would be very bad. Something like a Sidisi's Faithful or Reflector Mage off the sacrifice. Otherwise, I think we're fine. Actually, any creature off this Matter Reshaper and the Nantuko Husk is going to be big enough to eat our Abbot, and so this is an interesting turn for sure. Yep, there's the sacrifice of the Matter Reshaper. So hopefully no creature. Okay, land. That's exactly what we wanted. So I believe now this should be lethal. Yep, there we go. Always a nice feeling when you do the math correctly. Get your opponent just exactsies them. It's nice. So, looking at the sideboard, Dispel counters some of the important instants out of the rally deck. Actually, all of these counter spells counter Rally and Collected Company. So, probably want to board them in, or at least some of them. Removal is a little less impressive in this matchup. Colligan's Command is kind of slow. We don't really want to make our opponent discard cards because they can just discard a creature and then rally them back. So let's go ahead and take Colligan's Command out of our deck. The Battle Rages were actually pretty nice that game, even though we drew 3. So I guess we can take out a couple Wild Slashes. And we need to take out one more card. Maybe we don't need all these counter spells. Maybe we can cut one. That Expedite on the Abbot was actually really nice that last game to give our Abbot haste on that critical turn. It was actually the perfect card really to hit off the Abbot trigger. This hand seems fine. We don't have a Swift Spear, and we don't have a 2-drop we really want to cast on turn 2. Just an Abbot, which we'd like to get a little bit more value off of than just playing it on 2, but we'll see. I think we just want to go ahead and lead with the Bloodstained Mire and get Sunken Hollow. So then we have blue-red no matter what on our second turn. Okay, there's a Jace. We took out some removal, not all, but Jace is pretty annoying, for sure. But we have our own Jace, okay. So that's one way of fighting Jace, is to just play your own. And we will go ahead and do that. So this could shape up to be an interesting game. Jace on Jace battles can be interesting, especially when neither one is dealt with in any way. We can keep our Jace back to block this Cutthroat if we want to. Well, that's a good draw. Fiery Impulse allows us to deal with the opposing Jace if we want to. I guess we can go ahead and loot. Abbott was our draw there. So the question is now, what do we want to discard? I guess we can discard the Smoldering Marsh. Hopefully we'll draw some more lands. And we'll just go ahead and put this Abbot into play. See what we hit. It's a Slip Through Space, which we can't cast. Yeah, I think we just want to go ahead and impulse this opposing Jace. Get it out of the way. We don't have to worry about it unless it gets rallied back. And one reason for discarding that Smoldering Marsh is it didn't produce blue mana. We really want double blue and double red. And right now we just have double red. And that was one of the reasons why we couldn't cast the Slip Through Space we hit off the Abbot. Okay. Pretty good creature from Oath of the Gatewatch. Sacrifice Outlet. It looks like it's going to be an attack with the Cutthroat. We have the option of trading, but that seems like not the best choice. So we're going to just take the damage. Alright, let's see. We can make our Jace into a Planeswalker if we want, or we can try to hold off on that. But yeah, I think we're probably going to want to make our Jace into a Planeswalker. Let's lead on this Abbot, and we can expedite it if we want to. Abbot is also pretty good against Reflector Mage, because you don't really want to bounce an Abbot, you know? Still get the trigger when it comes into play. But it looks like our opponent's thinking at the moment. Alright, so the Abbot is going to come in. Mountain, okay, not a bad reveal. We're likely to play it, but let's go ahead and expedite the Abbot we just cast. It's pretty sweet interaction with the expedite. And we drew an island. We could play the island so that we'd have Dispel mana up. Should probably just go ahead and loot right away. Let's do that. We can discard the Treasure Cruise, I think, because we already have another one. And then we have the option of just going ahead. I think we want to play this mountain, and we can flash back the Fiery Impulse to take care of the Eternal Pilgrim here. That seems pretty good. Seems like a pretty good turn. So yeah, we're going to do that on the Fiery Impulse here. And this play also makes our Abbots bigger. And now our opponent has no good blocks on the Abbots. And no real way of taking out our Jace on the next turn. So yeah, I like this spot. Our opponent has gotten a couple of Cutthroat triggers in, which is a little bit annoying. But this mana base is a little odd, but I suspect that's due to wanting to play Matter Reshaper in the Collected Company deck. We haven't seen Rally cast yet, and hopefully, okay, it is going to be Reflector Mage on an Abbot. Interesting. Don't really mind that too much. It's more annoying as a blocker than as a bounce creature right now. But we may just want to play conservatively and hold up the spell for as long as possible. So yeah, I think we want to go ahead and play the Storm Chaser Mage this turn. And we can go ahead and plus Jace on Reflector Mage. And then the question is, do we want to attack with both? I think so. Attacking with both makes sense. If Reflector Mage blocks Abbot, then we can play Titan Strength on the Mage and get him for a bunch. But it looks like no blocks is the call. So that's fine. I'm fine with just dealing the 3 and saving the Titan Strength. And we've got our opponent really on the ropes, which is why we can afford to hold up the spell in the spot. Once again, the Cutthroat can hit Jace, but not for lethal damage. And next turn we can replay Abbot or refuel with Treasure Cruise. Both of those options are pretty appealing. Okay, Grim Harrispex is pretty good. No sacrifice outlet though. So I think we're still pretty far ahead at this point. And actually our opponent just isn't attacking at all. So we may just not want to attack with this Abbot. Because we don't really want to allow trades and Harrispex triggers. Let's see. I kind of like just replaying the Abbot. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Our opponent knows it's in our hand as well. And if we hit something like a Slip Through Space, that would be great. We could just probably attack for the win with an Abbot and Storm Chaser Mage. Otherwise, it's just a nice value creature. Not really too much we're worried about at the moment. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we can find with our abbot. Okay, it was simply a mountain. Not the best, maybe not the worst either. So we're probably just going to want to go ahead and play Swift Spear. We can get in for just the one, or we can Titan Strength if we want to. I don't know that it's necessary. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and peck in for one this turn and hold up both of these abbots and the Swift Spear for blocks. And then just having the Dispel is always just a great feeling on Rally when you're winning on board and then you have Dispel in hand. It's just a great feeling. Super hard because a lot of times they're looking for a Rally or a collecting company, and then once they find one, they're like, "Oh yes, I finally found what I needed," and then you just kind of crush their dreams with the Dispel. It's happened a couple times for me. Alright, not much we can do about this Reflector Mage. It may prolong the game a little bit, but overall, doesn't seem like a huge deal. If we had some way of getting our creatures through... Alright, this is interesting. Our opponent's attacking with the Haruspex. Let's just make the straightforward block. I don't really care too much about the Cutthroat trigger, and trading an Abbot for a Haruspex is perfectly reasonable. And it also fills up our graveyard for Treasure Cruise. So, we drew a land. We can crack it. It's a fetch land, so it fills up our graveyard even more for the cruise. So let's just go ahead and cruise now for 2. We could leave something in the graveyard for Jace, but yeah, let's just go ahead and cruise for 2 mana here. And we may have some reasonable attacks depending on what we draw here. Okay. Can't cast the mages this turn because of Reflector Mage. We do have double Titan Strength. So, yeah, I mean, this attack seems reasonable. Yeah, let's just go ahead and attack. It's a little bit aggressive, but with 2 copies of Titan Strength, it's pretty safe. We can just fire 1 off on a Swift Spear here. If our opponent has a removal spell like Murderous Cut, we're just going to let it happen. And both of the Reflector Mages are going to hit the bin. And we can just go ahead and play Jace and pass the turn. Yep. Okay, so our board's great. Our opponent may have a Rally in hand, but we're not gonna tap out anytime soon. So this Dispel should be pretty good, if that's the case. We also have Jace up to 4 now, so we can think about what we want to flash back. We know that we have a Slip Through Space coming off the top of our deck, so it's pretty likely we'll want to just go ahead and cast the Slip Through Space on the Abbot and maybe even the Swift Spear. And we may just want to go ahead and try for a kill on our next turn. And it looks like this is just going to be a pass from our opponent. So, yeah, let's start with Slip Through Space on the Abbot. See where that gets us. Could be that our opponent has a removal spell like Murderous Cut, but doesn't seem to be the case. We drew another copy of Slip Through Space. I kind of like looting with this Jace. We don't want it to flip. Alright, we can discard a Storm Chaser Mage. That's fine. And then we have another slip for the other Swift Spear. So we can use that. And, ooh, Temur Battle Rage, wow. That was very good for us. Alright. Should we just go ahead and go for it? Seems like a reasonable time to do so. Yeah, let's just go ahead and move to combat. Alright, time to try to kill you. I expect there will be something that happens now, but I don't think it's going to be anything we won't be able to handle. Rally is not going to resolve, and that should be the game. There we go.